Throughout history, thousands of people have disappeared. Some were eventually found, but others seem to vanish into thin air. No bodies, no answers. Today we're exploring some of the most mysterious disappearances in history. In this video, we'll look at 5 different mysteries. They happened in different eras, but they all share one thing in common. None of them have ever been fully explained. Watch until the end and tell us what you think. Which of these mysteries do you find the most mysterious? Our first mystery begins in 1971. A man known as D.B. Cooper bought a ticket on a flight from Portland to Seattle. Dressed in a business suit, he looked completely ordinary. Nobody knew he was about to become part of one of history's greatest mysteries. After takeoff, Cooper handed a note to a flight attendant. At first, she thought it was a phone number and put it away. But Cooper calmly said, "You'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Inside his briefcase were objects that appeared to be explosives. Cooper demanded $200,000 and 4 parachutes. The FBI and airport officials didn't want to risk the lives of the passengers. The plane landed in Seattle, and Cooper's demands were met. The money and parachutes were delivered. The passengers were released, leaving only the crew and Cooper on board. Cooper ordered the plane back into the air. It was night, and heavy rain was falling. At around 10,000 feet, he lowered the rear staircase and jumped into the darkness. Thousands of police officers, FBI agents, and military personnel searched for him. Despite years of investigation, Cooper was never found, and nobody knows what happened to him. To this day, he remains one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. Our next mystery takes us back nearly 400 years. This time, it wasn't one person who disappeared, but an entire colony. And to this day, nobody knows exactly what happened. In 1587, more than 100 English settlers arrived on Roanoke Island. Their goal was to establish England's first permanent settlement in the New World. At first, things seemed normal, but supplies soon began to run low. The colony's governor, John White, returned to England to gather supplies. He planned to come back within months, but war broke out between England and Spain, and ships were needed for military use. As a result, White couldn't return for 3 years. When White finally returned to Roanoke, he found something terrifying. The homes were empty. There was no sign of the settlers. There were no signs of battle either. It was as if the entire colony had simply vanished. The only clue was a single word carved into a tree, Croatoan. It was the name of a nearby island and native tribe. Some believe the settlers moved there. Others think they were killed, but no theory has ever been proven. The fate of the Roanoke colony remains a mystery. Our next mystery took place in 1945. It would later become one of the most famous stories connected to the Bermuda Triangle legend. This is the story of Flight 19. On December 5, 1945, 5 TBM Avenger bombers belonging to the U.S. Navy took off from Florida on a training mission. There were 14 men on board. It was supposed to be a routine exercise. The pilots were expected to follow a planned route and then return to base. Weather conditions initially seemed normal, and nothing suggested that anything was about to go wrong. After some time, the flight leader radioed for help. He reported that the compasses were malfunctioning and that they could no longer determine their position. The pilots had become lost over the ocean. The radio transmissions became weaker and weaker. Then all contact was lost. All 5 aircraft disappeared. A rescue plane sent to search for them was also lost. Despite years of investigation, the exact fate of Flight 19 has never been determined. The next mystery involves one of the most famous female pilots in history. The name was Amelia Earhart, and millions of people followed her adventures. By the 1930s, Amelia Earhart had become world famous. She was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean and had already broken several aviation records. Aviation was still in its early years, and Amelia inspired millions with her courage. Newspapers followed her every move, and people eagerly watched her latest adventures. In 1937, Amelia decided to attempt her greatest challenge. She wanted to become the first woman to fly around the world. The journey would cover nearly 47,000 kilometers and was considered extremely dangerous at the time. Despite the risks, Amelia and her navigator, Fred Noonan, set off. Most of the journey went smoothly, and they were approaching the final stages of the flight. In July 1937, their aircraft was flying over the Pacific Ocean. Ahead of them was the tiny Howland Island where they planned to land. However, finding the island proved far more difficult than expected. Amelia began reporting that fuel was running dangerously low. With every passing minute, the situation became more serious. In one of Amelia's final radio messages, she reported that she could not find the island. Shortly afterward, all contact was lost. The US government launched one of the largest search operations in history. Thousands of kilometers of ocean were searched. Yet neither Amelia Earhart, Fred Noonan, nor their aircraft were ever found. To this day, nobody knows exactly what happened to them. Our final mystery is different from the others. There are no airplanes and no oceans involved. This time, the story centers around a family and a strange event that took place on Christmas Eve. Even decades later, people still debate what really happened that night. On Christmas Eve in 1945, the Sodder family was celebrating the holiday at home. The parents and children spent the evening together, and everything seemed perfectly normal. Nobody could have imagined that within a few hours, they would become part of one of America's most famous mysteries. In the middle of the night, a fire broke out in the house. The flames spread rapidly. Some family members managed to escape, but 5 children remained inside. After the fire was extinguished, everyone assumed the children had died. But the strangest part of the story was yet to come. After the fire, investigators searched through the ruins. However, no bones or human remains belonging to the children were found. Years later, the family received strange letters and reports. Some people claimed the children had survived and been kidnapped. Others believed they died in the fire. The truth was never discovered. To this day, the fate of the Sodder children remains a mystery. D.B. Cooper, the Roanoke Colony, Flight 19, Amelia Earhart, the Sodder children. Each of these mysteries has puzzled people for years. Maybe one day the answers will be found, or maybe they never will. Now it's your turn. Which mystery do you think is the most fascinating? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more stories like these.